Hey, are you curious about life in Japan? Are you into Japanese games? Well, you're in the right place. We got a great episode for you this week. We'll talk about Death Stranding, Pokemon, Jedi Fallen Order, and a lot more than that. So keep your ear holes wide open because a brand new episode of the Unknown Games podcast starts right now. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Unknown Games podcast. If you are looking for Japanese games, life in Japan, or anything like that, then you have definitely come to the right place. My name is Alex, and we have a really awesome episode for you this week. If you're wondering where your regular host is, then, it might be a fair question. The truth is, I killed him in a power struggle, and now this podcast is mine. No, the actual truth is that Adrian just went home for a little R&R. He will be back probably next week unless he dies while away. You never know. You can never know what happens. Last time I spoke to him, he's been enjoying life in America. He's eating a lot of food. He's been sending a ton of pictures. So maybe when he comes back, he'll have some stories to share. But like I said, we do have a really good episode this week. We'll be talking about Hideo Kojima presents a Hideo Kojima game, as well as some pocket monsters. We do have a special guest. I'm joined by my friend Nick. Nick actually runs his own podcast called the Reiwa Gaming Podcast, also on Anchor. You can check them out at anchor.fm/Reiwa-gaming-podcast. They're also available on Spotify and iTunes and Overcast, pretty much every podcast caster that you might need. So just like our podcast, you really don't have an excuse not to check them out. Nick, how's it going?
It's going good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, it's super good to hear from you. We've known each other for quite a while, but we've actually never recorded a podcast together until now. So I think this is a pretty monumental occasion.
Yeah, we've recorded several other things like YouTube videos, some Twitch stuff, but never a podcast. We've been talking about it for a long time, it feels like.
Yeah, and then we just never did it. And then we just I think we both started our own respective podcasts more or less at the same time.
Yeah. It's been a fun experience too. Our podcast is on episode 5.
Yeah, it's just, you guys on a bi-weekly.
Yeah, we're on a bi-weekly thing, trying to at least. And it was tougher to start than I thought it would be, just getting into a rhythm. But now that we're 4 or 5 episodes in, we're hitting our stride, I think.
Yeah, I totally feel that. I know this isn't a podcast about podcasts, but, how would you say, what's it been like? What would you say is the biggest challenge of starting a podcast? And what is one thing that you didn't think that would be a challenge that kind of caught you off guard when you started?
The easiest thing how do I explain this? I was surprised at how easy it was to get all the recording stuff figured out. In my head, I thought it was going to be a headache, especially since we're doing it over the web with 4 hosts. It would be hard to get everyone's audio synced up and all that kind of stuff. But it was actually really easy using some Discord bots. Harder than I thought. Probably getting the word out for the podcast. We started out just sending it on Facebook to our friends and family, and we got a ton of hits the first episode or 2, and as the friend and family bump disappeared, the view numbers have gone down, but still pretty steady. So that was harder. We're trying to figure out how to get more people to listen.
Yeah, I know. I totally feel you. As starting this podcast, we're very much in the same boat, trying to get people to just check us out organically, right, without having to ask our friends to listen to it or whatever.
Yeah, and it's okay to get friends and family to listen to it. But you do eventually want to branch out and get some new viewers. We do have one listener.
Yeah.
From Costa Rica, so we're pretty happy about that.
You know what? So, we're also on anchor.fm, and we have access to the same analytics that you guys do. And we also have a Costa Rica listener.
Maybe it's the same guy.
I don't know. Yeah, it's the same guy. If shout out, if you're the same guy, super shout out. We really appreciate your support. Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah. Anyways, so like I mentioned in the intro, we're going to talk a little bit about Death Stranding and about Pokemon. Both games came out pretty recently. Really close to each other, actually. I think Death Stranding was 2 weeks ago at this point, and Pokemon was not even a week, actually, at the time of recording.
Yeah, it was a week between those games. Yeah.
Right. So I know you've talked about Death Stranding on your podcast, and episode 5, as you mentioned, just went up, I believe, yesterday.
Yes.
Again, at the time of recording. So I'm not going to get you to talk too much about it, but, just for our listeners, what would you say is your general impression of the game? You're not done the game at all. You're not, you haven't finished it, but how do you feel about it so far?
My opinion is that I'm glad I played it. I don't like it.
You don't, yeah. So you don't. I know you mentioned it as well. I was listening to your podcast. You said you didn't like it, but just for to get us up to speed, what's your biggest gripe about that game? What is preventing you from having a good experience?
It's the main thing that I don't like is just the base gameplay loop, the whole delivery man aspect of it. I like a lot about the game, and it performs great. I can't believe how well the game performs on a base PS4.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, just the base gameplay loop, the main thing that you're doing in the game the whole time, is not fun for me. It's kind of, I honestly think it's boring. I know that's a lazy way to explain things, but I just don't have fun doing it.
Right. So the main gameplay mechanic is delivery, essentially. So you're going to terminals, accepting quests, I guess, and then you get loaded up with a package. You kind of get a loadout, basically. It's like you can take stuff with you, like ladders and stuff, right? And then
you have various tools at your disposal. They unlock slowly as you go through the game, but you have ladders, you have ropes, you have crafting kits that you can use to build watchtowers and things like that.
Right.
Yeah, you get vehicles slowly through the game.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like about the game. But yeah, the gameplay loop just kills it for me.
So you're not done the game. So how many hours are you in so far?
I'd say I'm about 8 to 10, I think.
Right.
Probably close, yeah, somewhere between 8 to 10, I think. I'm towards the middle of chapter 3. And I've only been doing story missions. I haven't been doing any of the side stuff. I saw a bunch of news articles on Polygon and Kotaku and game sites that said, rush to chapter 3 because it gets better. So that's what I was doing.
And
waiting, hoping that it would get better for me, and it never did.
Right. So but is there any kind of combat in that game or what? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, is there, there's fighting in it?
There is, the main, it's not really combat. The main conflict, I guess, scenarios in the game are kind of stealthy. You can see some of the stealth action coming through from the Metal Gear series, but there is more traditional combat throughout the game against other human, well, not real humans, but other human type characters, NPCs. But it's very basic. You know, you can either punch, or I think you can like body check them, or you can sneak up behind them.
Right.
There's not really a huge combo system or anything like that. It's very basic.
Right. So there's not a focus on fighting, I would say.
No, and I don't think it's that much fun, the base combat against the other human NPCs. It seems to me like you're not really supposed to do that. They kind of want you to go through it as stealthily as possible.
Yeah, I got that impression too as I was going through how much of it I've played as well.
Yeah. You don't need to do that, but you can kind of tell that's the way they wanted you to go through it.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, man. I think that kind of stems from the Metal Gear Solid DNA as well. So have you played a Metal Gear Solid game before or no?
A few times. I've never finished one. I've played through a couple of them for a few hours at least.
Which one?
I've watched people.
Okay.
Like the first one.
Okay.
And I played a little bit of 5, which is the newest one, right?
Yep.
And a little bit of Peace Walker. That was a PSP game, wasn't it?
It was.
Vita? Yeah. And the one I really liked the most was Acid for PSP, the card game.
Acid was actually a really good game. Very, very good. Yeah.
But I'm really not a huge fan of Kojima's stuff in general. I don't really like his storytelling, and you know how he is.
Yeah.
I don't have to go into it that much. I've never been a huge fan of his work. Really respect the guy for what he has done, but I just, his stuff is not really for me. So I kind of went into Death Stranding really pessimistic. I almost didn't buy it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the last minute, I said, I should probably at least form my own opinion on it. And,
sure. So you're coming
kind
in.
of backfired. You're
coming into Death Stranding as you've really never played any of his other games before.
No, I haven't really played that much of his other stuff. I have played some, but not enough to like review a game or anything like that.
Okay. So I don't know. I suspect that the experience that you get out of Death Stranding is almost directly proportionate to how much Hideo Kojima you're familiar with. So I'm not done either. So I actually just picked it up a couple of days ago, I believe, like 2 days ago. I've been really busy playing through other games. I don't want to say busy. I'm not a professional reviewer or anything, but you know how it is.
Yeah.
And I think like the very beginning of Death Stranding, I don't know. It really feels like a Hideo Kojima game to me. You know what I mean? Like it's so thick with his style.
Yeah, it looks like a Kojima game. It sounds like a Kojima game. I do like all of the sound effects and the sound direction in it. Like that's always been good in all of his games, I think. Even the little things like the codec noise that plays when it pops up is just great.
I think they really. I mean, and Metal Gear Solid has some of the most iconic sound effects in gaming. Right? Everyone's familiar with the alert noise, the codec beep. You hear it referenced all the time. But,
yeah, I think his games are way up there when it comes to like sound direction. The Final Fantasy games are known to having good like interface noises and battle victory songs.
Yeah. So, when you move the cursor and stuff, right? Everyone hears it. Everyone knows it.
The Zelda franchise is known for having really cool little noises and jingles when you find the treasure chest. I think the Kojima games are up there too. They always sound really good.
Yeah, they've reached that certain level of gaming history where everyone, even if you never played a Metal Gear Solid game before, everyone knows the alert pretty much.
Yeah, I think he passes the ringtone test.
If
you wanna make a ringtone out of some of the game sounds, it has good sound direction.
Right. So here's my opinion on Death Stranding so far is that, and I was talking to my friend about this. I think Death Stranding 100% meets my expectations of what the game was supposed to be. So, when Death Stranding was first announced, I mean, I watched the trailer and I didn't know what was happening. No one knew what was happening. Did you see the first trailers?
I watched the first 2 or 3 trailers.
Yeah, they're
just out of morbid curiosity.
They're wild. They're crazy wild.
Yeah, and I was hooked on those. Like I was waiting for the next one to come. I wanted to see what this was about.
To figure out what was
Then
going
they
on.
got to that hour-long one, and I checked out. I was like, no, I'm good.
So I didn't watch that trailer. So what happened for me was after a point in the media hype train for this game, I actually just stopped watching trailers. I went on media blackout. I didn't watch a trailer. I didn't read any reviews, any previews, anything like that.
Mm-hmm. That's the best way to go these days, I think.
Because I think I had already determined that I would eventually play this game, having played through all of Metal Gear Solid, like the whole series, like all those games.
Mm-hmm.
it made sense for me personally to check this out, to see where Hideo Kojima, will take games, because now that he's not with Konami and now that he's kind of free in, what I mean, to make whatever he wants. So as a player, as someone who appreciates video games, I was, almost certain that I would eventually get this game. So I would say, like, my one-line review of this game is that I don't hate it, but I don't love it. It's 100% what I thought it would be. If that makes sense.
That makes sense. And it's kind of similar to the way I feel about the game, up until a point. Like, I agree. I don't hate the game. I definitely don't love the game or like the game. But where we differ a little bit, I feel that way because I didn't have any emotional reaction to it. It's just kind of like, in my brain when I'm playing, it's just silence, to the point where I said to myself, why am I even doing this? I'm going to turn it off now.
Yeah. So I'll admit that I can only play Death Stranding in bursts of maybe 1 to 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I had a free day the first day it came out, second day maybe. And I said, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to binge this for a few hours. And I couldn't do it. I got like 90 minutes in and I had to go eat lunch or something. I needed a palate cleanser.
Yeah. So coming off Metal Gear Solid 5, I played so much Metal Gear Solid 5. I feel like you could binge that game, because that game has the mechanics in that game are really good. The gunplay and the stealth are so well crafted. Say what you will about the story, like putting this, however you feel about the story, putting that aside, I think no one's arguing that mechanically Metal Gear Solid 5 is fantastic. And there's a lot of, gameplay in that game. Death Stranding is it's so unique. I don't like, yeah, it is a lot of walking. And that's...
Yes.
So with Metal Gear Solid 5, you're plotting your route, you're taking over bases, you're taking care of those people, you're killing them or silencing them however you want, you're taking their materials, and then you're going to the next base, and you're going to the next base, and you're kind of just like, that's the loop, right? You're a one-man army, and you feel really powerful. You feel like it's fun to just take over these bases and to wipe out 5 guards and not have them notice. And then with Death Stranding, it's like, oh, there's lost cargo, let me pick that up. It's like, oh, there's lost cargo, let me pick that up. It's like, oh, let me pick that up. And then you're like, oh, I'm overweight now. I'm balancing my load, and then that's the struggle right there. You're not fighting anyone, you're fighting the terrain.
Yeah. And for me personally, I have never been a fan of encumbrance in games.
Oh, yeah.
So, and this game is based completely on encumbrance, so I think that's probably part of, a deeper part of why I don't like the gameplay loop that much. Right. And you eventually get things that can mitigate some of that traveling encumbrance, but it's too little too late, I think, for me.
I think a lot of individual players' experience with Death Stranding probably is how much of the multiplayer is put into effect while you're playing.
Yeah, I can see that. Some of the hosts on my podcast, they really like that whole social aspect of it, working together to finish the highways and getting likes and things like that. But looping back into the way I felt about the game as a whole, I just had no emotional reaction to that. I didn't really want to help stop and help people build their highways. I didn't really care if anyone helped build mine. I kind of wanted a single player experience.
Oh yeah, I would say if you're gonna go into this game single player, maybe don't, because it's not. I really don't think it's meant for that.
I would agree. I would say don't even buy it if you're looking for a single player. Experience.
I think
because it is a single player game, but
it's not.
It's
really,
going to be hard.
It's really not.
It's going to be hard.
Yeah. I would say you're in for a bad time if it's fully synced.
Yeah.
It's gonna be not fun. So
maybe check out up to chapter 3, and then but from chapter 3, you really do need to do a lot of the social stuff. Before that, you don't need to do too much. So if you can borrow the game from someone, do it. Play up to chapter 3 and then stop.
So I was talking to my friend about this again, and he was saying maybe earlier reviewers were at a handicap because there wasn't a lot of the online stuff available to them.
Well, that's a good idea, but actually Sony was on the ball for this.
Did they actually have like dummy stuff in the service?
No. Like, because Sony backed this project and they really wanted it to sell well. I heard this from the Giant Bombcast. That's one of the main podcasts I like. And, usually, I'm guessing, the game websites, they get maybe 1 or 2 review codes. But the Giant Bomb guys said, like, the whole crew had codes. And I think they said about 500 review codes went out for this game.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Sony was handing them out like candy because they knew how big the social aspect was, and they wanted the reviewers to see that. And I also think that they got their review codes like a month early, something crazy, way earlier than you usually get review codes. So I don't think the reviewers were at a disadvantage this time.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it didn't really help. It didn't really help that much, I think, because the game was still pretty divisive. If just looking at the reviews, they're pretty mixed. You got a lot. I think it's mostly positive, but a decent amount of mixed and negative reviews too.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty decisive as well. I think, like, just to close up Death Stranding, I feel like it is a natural progression of Hideo Kojima's games. I can see so much of Metal Gear Solid 5 in this game. Like, the menus are so similar to 5, and actually the way that you move, like the way that Sam Porter moves when he's not, loaded up, is so much like Big Boss from 5.
Mm-hmm.
Which is impressive because it's a completely different engine that's running on Decima as opposed to Fox. So that's
yeah. The technical side of Death Stranding is amazing. I'm really impressed with it. The way it runs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks good.
The
and
sound. It looks great.
Yeah, I think no one's arguing that it's not a technical achievement. No,
and maybe, I don't know, because I'm not a game developer, but because the gameplay loop, the mechanics of it, are not that crazy. You're doing deliveries, and that's basically the whole game. There's lots of little systems piled on to everything, but they don't have to, like, program all these huge encounters and things like that. So maybe they were able to spend a lot more of the processing power into the visuals and the performance part of it.
Yeah, I would say, I've been playing it for, at this point, maybe 6-8 hours, and I haven't really noticed a hitch. I'm playing on a Pro, though, so I know you're playing on a base PS4.
I'm on a base PS4, and I haven't seen, this is just me personally, I haven't seen any frame drops.
Yeah, which is perfect.
It runs ridiculously well. And I just started playing Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order.
Yep.
And that has frame drops and hitches occasionally, a couple glitches here and there. It doesn't run anywhere near as well as Death Stranding does.
Yeah,
but I like that game way more.
It's pretty impressive. Yeah, well, Death Stranding is also coming out on PC next year, so I think it'll be interesting.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see what the frame rates are for PC players. They're probably going to be astronomical.
Yeah, I
300 frames a second.
As someone who I would say primarily plays on PC, I want to know what PC players will do with it. I mean, I'm sure someone will mod it. Will mod Death Stranding.
Yeah, I don't
have
that powerful of a game PC anymore. I'm a few years behind. But I would love to see what the modding community does with Death Stranding. That might make me want to play more.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be very interesting. Even just the dumb mods. So if there's a mod for Metal Gear Solid 5 where they take Dee Dee, the diamond dog, the cute little wolf that you find, and there was a mod that replaces the wolf with Revolver Ocelot. So there's a part where Dee Dee comes and kind of humps your leg, and then the modders have it. So yeah, it's Revolver Ocelot. He comes and he humps your leg, and then jumps on you, and just there's a GIF of that, and the fact that exists on the internet is a gift to humanity. So yeah,
gotta love modders. Thank you, modders.
Yeah, thank you for your hard work. Well, so other than Death Stranding, Pokemon came out, so a week after Death Stranding.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of days ago at the time of recording. I've been playing it. I know you've been playing it. Yep. Kind of by yourself, but not really, right? You've been playing it with family.
No, I'm not. I have like no motivation to play this by myself.
So okay.
I played X and Y by myself. I did not play Sun and Moon or Ultra Sun and Moon at all. I played Let's Go Pikachu with my son, not by myself. And this is no different. I'm kind of done with Pokemon playing by myself. I'm just gonna play with my son.
So how are you liking Sword and Shield?
It's okay. You know, I was following the whole Dexit stuff. It didn't really resonate with me that much because I don't play Pokemon games by myself anymore.
Right. So you feel like
it didn't bother me so much.
Okay. Yeah.
But I definitely feel for the people that, you know, are heavily invested in that whole Dexit situation.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand why they're upset. But the game just in general is, if I had to give it a score out of 10, I would give it a meh out of 10.
So I've been playing it. I think I don't even know how many hours I'm in at this point. Maybe same thing as Death Stranding, maybe 6 or 8. And
yeah, I think I'm about the same. Yeah, 8 hours probably.
And my honest opinion of it is that it's fine. It's a Pokemon game. It's a
Pokemon game. I am sad they took out what's it called? The Mega Evolutions.
Yeah, those are cool.
I thought that was the greatest thing they put in Pokemon in a long time.
I was not feeling Z moves.
No, and I didn't play the Sun and Moon, both sets of games, so I didn't even experience that except for watching the TV show. I just did not. I didn't really. I wasn't into them, but yeah. I don't think the Dynamaxing and the is it Gigantamaxing?
Gigantamax.
Terrible name. I don't think they are as cool as the Mega Evolutions.
You know, I just noticed that the Japanese word for Dynamax is Daimaxu, which is like Big Max.
Yes. I don't know what the other one is though.
I don't know.
Gigantamax.
But it just hit me that the Japanese term is Daimaxu, and I was like, oh, you clever bastards. But yeah. So it's fine. I think so I like the presentation visually of the game. It has really nice environments. I don't mean technically. I'm not talking about the textures or anything. I'm talking about the artist rendition of the environment.
The art direction. Yeah. It is cool. It's the first one that they have based on Europe, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it looks X and Y was France.
Was there another one?
X and Y was France, but.
Was that France? I guess you're right. Yeah. So England, Britain. The art direction is really good, I think. But it looks if you're actually judging the looks, I think it looks pretty bad. You mean technically, the character models look great. Technically, yes.
Yeah, okay.
The models and stuff look okay. But when you start looking at textures and things, the thing on Reddit right now is everyone's obsessed with the N64 trees.
Yeah. I mean, I noticed that as well. I noticed
there's already a mod for it, I think, on hacked switches. You can put in nicer looking trees.
Yeah, I saw that. That's funny. No, the art direction to me looks good, and I think the UI I like because it's so clean. It's so simple.
It is a nice UI.
Yeah. You know, and
Except for I don't like all the Y, what is it called? Y local or Y?
the Ycom.
Yeah, like that stuff pops up all the time on the bottom of the screen and it
Yeah.
kind of is annoying. But
When you like catch.
besides that, I like it.
Yeah. So the UI, I like the UI. I like the art direction, which is really good. I did notice, like, I guess like in my first battle, you look at the ground and it's pretty low texture. It is like obviously a low texture, low resolution. I mean.
It does look pretty bad, yeah. The rumor floating around, and this is just a rumor, who knows if it's true, is that originally their plan was to release this as a 3DS game.
I believe that is probably likely.
Yeah, but after the success of the Switch, they switched the production over
To the Switch, yeah.
And yeah, you know, that's not easy to do with a smaller company because they're only like 200 employees.
They don't make that many games. You know, they make Pokemon and occasionally they make other stuff.
Yeah, so I'm sure they were kind of lazy.
So
Maybe.
there's a couple of things about this development cycle. I think they are rumored to be only 2 years, which is not that much.
It's not a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a lot.
Especially if you have to change gears halfway through development, that's not great. That's not good.
Yeah.
So if you start on
It's tough.
3DS, yeah, and you move to the Switch in the middle of your already short development cycle, that's not gonna, it's not gonna be a good product, I think. But,
Yeah, and they were working on Little Town. Is it Little Town?
yeah, Little Town Story, whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were doing that also during the production cycle, probably. So
I think it's a really good step forward for the Pokemon series. So the wild area to me is really good. Having that third, like the camera control in that area,
yeah,
and
it is nice. I wish they would implement that in the rest of the game.
right. So you can't control the camera in the routes or the towns. So I feel like as the first, we're not counting Let's Go here. As the first Switch games, I think it's a good. It's kind of like their first step, right? You can see that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next, especially after all of the huge amount of criticism that they have received. I would hope that they take some of that to heart and try to make some good changes.
Yeah.
Who knows if they actually do?
I
would love it if they went more action RPG like.
Kind of like
the next game.
What Yokai Watch did.
Maybe.
You should.
Honestly, my dream would be all the Pokemon are in it. It's open world-ish, like you just do wild area for the whole
it's
thing.
all wild area, yeah.
Yeah, a la Breath of the Wild, like think like that. And then for the battle system, you make it could be used like what's that game? Pokken as a base. You could probably make it more simpler for kids, because Pokken's not that simple. But like they already have like some examples that they could pull from to make it an action RPG.
Right. There's also
I think the turn-based style of the Pokemon games is just dated and it's out of style right now. It's not that fun.
So do you think, well, if they did that, if they scrapped turn-based, how do you think the competitive scene would take it?
That's a good question. They'd probably flip out, but honestly, how big is the competitive Pokemon scene these days? There's of course tournaments.
Yeah.
There's tournaments and stuff, but I think the average person is not really that interested in that anymore.
So
it would be cool to see it shift like from a RPG to a fighting game almost,
like
it would be
Pokemon.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
could you imagine seeing the new Pokemon games at EVO?
well, I mean, I think Pokemon was at EVO once actually for 1 year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, no one really entered, but yeah, that's the thing.
There's a lot of stuff they could do, I think, to make it more interesting.
I think the biggest, I don't know, I think the roadblock to make it action would be, I don't want to say the competitive scene, because like you said, it's not really that big, but they would pretty much need to rewrite the system. It feels like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd have to. It would be tough for sure because that's a lot of Pokemon, and to have all of them, they'd have to do way more animations for each Pokemon.
Oh yeah, and then there's the natures. I don't know how that would transfer over to.
That stuff they'd probably have to just trash. They'd have to redo a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, natures, EVs and
scratch, but
yeah, those are all gone.
They'd probably have to start from scratch almost, but that's okay, I think, if you come out early and say, this is going to be a longer development cycle. We listened to you guys. We're going to make some changes. Please wait.
Yeah.
And the people will wait. They'll wait. They'll spend money on Pokemon. It could take 10 years and they'll make even more money.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of like the jump that the Yakuza series is taking in the opposite direction. I don't know if you've heard about that, but you know, yeah,
7's going to be turn-based, right? That's crazy.
It's legit the opposite. So I've been like, I played some Yakuza games and they're fun. They're really good. Those are action games. Like they are at the very core. They are action games and they're really good action games.
I think though it was starting to get stale, that series. That kind of classic Japanese arcadey action games that the Yakuza games always had was starting to get stale, and it's cool to see them try to make a big gameplay change. We'll see how it sells. I think it'll sell a lot.
Well, I mean, I think Yakuza is popular in Japan. I believe. I feel like it has a really big Japanese fan base. So yeah, and I'm curious too.
It'll be interesting.
So I mean, yeah, I'm probably gonna get it as well, just because I'm very curious to see how they're gonna take that series into the the turn-based space. Yeah, I'm imagining like FF7 encounters where they have guns and you get shot and you're like, I'm still fine, like.
They throw a knife at you and you're sticking out.
Yeah, and you're just good. Like, I'm not dead yet. So. Yeah. Well,
Pokemon, it's all right. I'm gonna play through the whole game because I'm playing with my son, and we only play like an hour every couple nights.
So you'll be done
a couple nights a week.
You'll be done in a month, give or take.
We'll probably be done with the story in a month, and then we'll slowly try to catch all the Pokemon we can.
Mm-hmm.
It's a slow burn. We're not going through it real quick. So I will finish it. We put like 60 hours into Let's Go Pikachu, so I'm sure I'll put in at least that much in Sword.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Yeah. I'm not playing by myself, so it's okay.
Yeah. So that's it. So I've been playing Death Stranding, Pokemon, and Persona 5. What about you? What have you been playing?
Death Stranding until Jedi Fallen Order came out, and now I'm just playing that because it's so much fun. Freaking love that game.
Yeah, so you're coming into it as a Star Wars fan, right?
Huge Star Wars fan, nerd. Yeah, anything about Star Wars I like. I read the books, comics, watch the movies, watch the TV shows. Look at Wikipedia pages. So not Wikipedia, Wikipedia.
Of course, I would never fail to make that distinction. How does it stand on its own legs as a Star Wars game?
It's great. Best Star Wars game in a long time. I played Battlefront 1, which was fun, but it had its problems. And I didn't play Battlefront 2 because of the whole EA stuff fiasco. I never went back to it. But I think this is the best Star Wars game in years. Yeah.
So
it's really good.
I actually haven't seen much. I've seen like one trailer about it. But I haven't really been following it. I haven't watched any streams on it, really. How would you describe the gameplay?
The gameplay is a mix. Well, the comparison you see around the internet, the main comparison is the Soulsborne games. The combat is very similar. Yeah, the combat is very similar to the Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro. That's a little different than the Soulsborne games, but it's still pretty similar.
So that whole genre that's kind of exploded in the last couple of years.
Yeah, the From Software action games. It takes a huge influence from that. But it's not as complex. It's like a Soulsborne light.
Okay.
It's still a really hard game, but it's not as complex, the battle system. But I mean, even have you played those games?
No. I mean, I played Bloodborne and wasn't very good at it.
So
And then I played Neo.
When you target enemies in the From Software games, right, it puts a little dot like right in the middle of the character. It does that in this game too. So like they took a lot of stuff from those games. So that's the battle system. The exploration part is very similar to your classic Metroidvania style games. There's you play a little bit, you unlock something, and then when you get that new item or skill, it lets you go back to some areas that were unavailable to you. So there's a lot of backtracking, but it's fun backtracking. And then there's a lot of set pieces, and a lot of the action is very similar to the Uncharted games. So this is a weird game. It combines the combat of the Soulsborne games with the exploration of the Metroidvania style games and the presentation style of Uncharted. It's really fun. It's really cool. And then it's Star Wars too, so you got that on top of that. The lore and the backstory is there.
So for Star Wars fans, you would recommend it?
Oh, without a doubt. If you're a Star Wars fan and you have a PlayStation
or a PC,
it's also or a PC. It's on Xbox too.
Probably.
If you're a Star Wars fan and a gamer, you should 100% be buying this game.
Would you recommend it to anyone who's actually not a Star Wars fan? So I would say that I'm not really a Star Wars fan. So I watch the movies like so many other people. So when they come out, I'll go to the theaters and I'll watch them. But I'm not, I would say, invested. Would you recommend this game to someone like me?
I would still recommend it. Just because it's a challenging game, it's a fun game. Even if you're not that into Star Wars, like the lore or just the Star Wars canon and that kind of stuff, it's still really fun. It looks good. I might say wait a month or so for them to get some performance patches out. It doesn't perform that great right now.
Okay.
It feels a little rushed. Episode 9 is coming out next month.
It is.
You can kind of see. Yeah, episode 9 comes out in a couple weeks.
That is crazy.
The last Skywalker saga movie. I'm very sad.
Yeah. Well, they'll make more. They got to make money.
Oh, they're gonna make another trilogy, but it's not gonna be the Skywalker story.
But
it does feel a little rushed
for the movie, for some cross promotion.
Yeah, you can tell that they needed to get it out before the movie. It probably could have used another 3 months, I think, for polish. But with games these days, they'll patch it in for sure.
I do believe I might be getting my timeline mixed up, but there were rumors that Respawn was making a Star Wars game before Apex Legends had even launched. So I feel like
probably this seems like a game that would take a long time to make, and they've probably been working on it for a long time. Especially with the way games are made these days, there's a lot of crunch time towards the end. I have a feeling this is probably a game that was affected by that.
Yeah.
And it's EA too, so you know how they are. They want their games to come out on time.
Yeah, that's kind of too bad. But no, it's good. It's good to hear that the game is, at least fun. I looked at some gameplay for it, and it did look pretty cool. I'll honestly say, just as a casual viewer of the internet, the lightsaber effects look really good.
Have you ever played the Force Unleashed?
No.
Or the Force Unleashed 2?
No.
So those Star Wars games are pretty popular. Those came out, probably 10 years ago?
Oh my god, on PS3. I was still living at my country of not Japan at that time.
Yeah. Those games were fun, but those were really arcadey action style games. So using the lightsaber to go through enemies felt like nothing. It felt like you were just waving a piece of paper. It was just so light. Because of the influence from the Soulsborne games, the lightsaber actually feels heavy, and your hits actually feel like there's some power behind them. So it feels really satisfying to hit enemies. You go and you slice this enemy monster, and it cuts in half. And where you slice the enemy is like sizzling from the lightsaber going through it. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think that's really important for just the experience, the visual experience, to a player. So that's
and you can if a stormtrooper is shooting laser bolts at you, you can parry them with your lightsaber, and if you time it just right, the laser bolt shoots back at the stormtrooper and knocks him out in one hit. It's really fun.
How many of those have you gotten off?
Oh, it's pretty easy to do those.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So you feel like an actual Jedi.
Stormtroopers there. You feel like a Jedi in this.
Yeah, I think that's an important, what's the word?
And you can customize your lightsaber too.
Oh, really? Any color?
Oh, the lightsaber customization options are crazy in this. Laser color.
What's laser color?
Like the crystal that powers the lightsaber. You can change the color.
I see. So I thought you were saying like the color is laser, and I'm like, what is that?
No. And you can change like the switches that turn the lightsaber on. You can change the casing. You can change the like the part that covers the bottom of the laser blade part. Like every little thing of the lightsaber you can customize. It's really cool.
So what color is your laser?
Mine is green right now.
You might change it later.
But I don't have. Yeah. I'm only on the 1, 2. I guess the second planet you go to, so I still have a lot of the game to play.
All right, that's cool. All right, well, we're gonna go and take a super quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the news, if there is any news, or just generally what's going on in our lives. So don't go away, or I guess you can go away, but make sure you come back later.
Hi, everyone. Yo, it's me, Adrian, and I got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Anchor, for being not only our sponsor, but also for being our host. Now, Anchor is an amazing way to record and distribute your podcast. Seriously, everyone, we were looking through so many different options, but Anchor has been such a wonderful place and a home for us. Number one, it's free. It's free. Yeah, it's free. I said that 3 times because that was home for us. And also, you don't have to worry about uploading only a certain amount per month or getting rid of episodes. Free unlimited storage. So that is huge point for us. And we also want to say that Anchor allows you to edit and upload your podcast, even record your podcast, not just from your computer, but also from your mobile device. That's right. I'm recording this from my mobile. Yeah, see, I sound just as good as on the PC. And that's really cool. You can do it anytime with friends and just be as creative as you want. And number 3, I think this is one of the best points, period, is that Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you. That's right. We don't know how on earth to get on any of the platforms that we need to, iTunes, Google Play Store for podcasts, but Anchor does. And you don't even have to do anything. They do it for you. So I'm just like, what? And it's on Spotify. My friends use Spotify. I use Spotify. Oh, hey, just share via Spotify. There's so many cool things that you can do. And of course, make money from your podcast without any minimal listenership. So this is really cool. I love Anchor because of these reasons. I love Anchor. That sounds like crazy. I'm advertising, but that's really cool. I had to say thank you to Anchor just for that. And we hope you enjoy the podcast. Now, remember that if you want to download the app, we encourage you to. We also encourage you to go to anchor.fm and try it out. Get your own podcast. It's really easy to get started. All you need is your phone. I don't even have to tell you to get a mic, just your phone, because it has a mic. See, that's amazing right there. So it's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Thank you for listening, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the show.
And we're back. Nick, how's it going? What'd you do in that break?
I drank some whiskey and checked line.
Perfect. That's the opposite of what I did, which is...
What did you do?
I drank water and then checked line for no messages.
I had one message, so I win.
Amazing. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some news. There's honestly not too much, I think, that jumps out to me really. But I think today Valve announced a new Half-Life game, and can you guess what it is?
Half-Life 3?
Well, no, it's not. Good guess, but it's not. So this is Half-Life Alyx, and they haven't really announced anything about it. Really, they've only announced that they're working on a game called Half-Life Alyx. It's not Half-Life 3, unfortunately. But what is maybe cool about this is that it's a VR experience. So, yeah, I don't know. What's your take on this? Is this like, should it have been 3? How do you feel about the VR and all that?
I don't really care if they ever make Half-Life 3 because
you're not invested in it. Yeah.
I played Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 episode.
Yeah, episode 1 and episode 2. Yeah.
But if that game ever comes out, it's not going to live up to the hype. It's too late. It's too far gone at this point.
You feel like it's like a Doom Nukem Forever thing.
Yeah, they're never gonna make Half-Life 3. There's too much to lose, I think, at this point. They get more publicity trolling everyone with these kind of announcements than actually making Half-Life 3, I think.
Sure. So the fact that it's Alyx, that's great. That's good for them. How do you feel?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the VR aspect of it? So this is not a normal game, apparently. This is a VR experience.
Yeah. I think it's kind of cool. I have a Oculus Quest, so I won't be able to play this right away unless, there are ways to play Steam VR games on Oculus Quest using streaming services. And the new Oculus Link, I think, that just came out. But my PC is still not strong enough for PC VR right now. I need to upgrade my graphics card. But I think it's cool that this is going to be a VR experience.
Do you think that this is Valve kind of putting their foot down and being like, we're all in on VR? So we know that Valve worked with HTC to make the Vive, which is kind of, let's say, aside from the Oculus, was one of the first consumer VR kits. And
yeah, you got the Rift, you got the Vive as the two main ones. And now you have the Index.
Yeah, and then then Valve went and made their own VR headset called the Index. Yeah. So I think Valve is more or less invested in VR. So do you think that this being a VR experience is Valve saying like, no, we really, really, really actually believe that VR is the future, or is this them trying to push more Index sales?
I definitely think they're trying to push Index sales because they're a company and they want to sell that stuff. But yeah, I could see them going heavy into VR in the next console cycle, which is fine. I love my Quest. It's a lot of fun. I really wish they would make a Portal VR.
Oh yeah.
God, that would be I would be in heaven if they made a Portal VR. That'd be so cool.
I think I might vomit, like falling through a portal. Like
maybe I've gotten my VR legs have gotten pretty stable in the last few months. I've switched most games to locomotion, like smooth locomotion,
where you just kind of slide around. Yeah,
you use the sticks to walk around. Yeah, and my body's pretty well adjusted to that now, so I think I would be all right. But yeah, oh man.
So I
play that so much. Yeah.
I get VR sick actually, to be honest, but
really
I do. I kind of have to build it up. Sometimes I'll go on VR binges and I'll kind of just get my legs built up again. But I feel like Portal VR, I would straight up die inside because you're because you played Portal, right?
Oh yeah. Portal and Portal 2 are some of my favorite games.
You're like flinging your body, like at, I would say like 100 miles per hour. You're falling through space. You're really falling. I would just,
You do build up a lot of momentum sometimes. I think developers are getting really good with comfort options in VR games these days. It's not exactly a brand new tech anymore, so companies are doing a lot of research in that regard. If you go back and look at some of the first VR games, like
Like
Not Vacation Simulator, the other one. Job Simulator?
Vacation Simulator. That's literally the opposite. The Job Simulator.
Well, there's a Vacation Simulator now too.
Now there is. Wow. Okay.
But if you look at like Job Simulator or some of those early VR games, and then you compare it to something newer, like Vader Immortal or some of the new Quest games, it's way different. You can see how different it is. You can't move the like picking up stuff is way worse. So I don't know. I think they would do all right making a Portal VR game.
Do you think do you think VR is the future of gaming? So in like 5 years, everything will be VR?
No. I think it'll be much bigger than it is now, especially now that the Quest is out, wireless, not linked to a PC at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's definitely gonna get bigger. This Christmas, I think, is gonna be pretty telling when the Quest numbers come out.
Yeah. So I have a Vive, and Vive is like, what's the word? It's like inside out tracking, or is it? It's so I have base sensors essentially, right?
It's outside in.
Yeah. So I have to set up base sensors around my room so my computer knows how big my play space is and where I physically am.
Yes.
So that's the Vive. That's also how the Index works. So at current tech, for accuracy, I think that's the way to go, because that's the most accurate way to get the play space, so your computer knows where you are and all that kind of stuff. But
with two cameras, right?
with
Not cameras, with towers, 2 towers.
Yeah.
I think you're right. That's still the best way to go. But have you tried a Quest yet?
No. So yeah, I feel like going to get mainstream success, I think inside out tracking is the way to go, because it's way more convenient.
Yeah, for 100% inside out tracking, I think is where the VR world is going. It has its moments where it's a little glitchy. You don't have the way the Quest works is there's 4 cameras on the actual headset itself in the front, scanning the room to the side and in front of you. So the back, there's no cameras at all. It relies on the motion sensors and the controllers to kind of track when your hands are behind you, and it works decent. But besides that one little fault where your hands are behind your back, the inside-out tracking on the Quest is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I've played Super Hot on your Vive.
Yep.
At your apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And I have Super Hot on my Quest, and I cannot tell a single difference in the tracking.
So it's more or less the same.
Yeah. I much prefer Super Hot on the Quest compared to the Vive, because there's no wires.
Yeah, there's no wires.
The room I play VR in it's about what? How big is that? It's about 10 feet. It's about 10 by 6 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more, 10 by 8. So I have a decent amount of room to walk around in. And without a wire, Super Hot is just amazing. It's an incredible gaming experience.
Super Hot VR, by the way, for anyone listening who, if you have a VR headset of any kind and you have Super Hot available on that platform, I completely recommend Super Hot VR. It is such a good game.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite VR game that I've ever played.
Yeah, if you own a VR headset and like just get Super Hot, like just do it now. Like it's that good.
Yeah, I love my next favorite game would be Beat Saber, and I've probably played more hours of Beat Saber than I have of Super Hot.
Mm-hmm.
But just the experience of playing Super Hot is one of a kind. It's so unique.
For sure, absolutely. It's also one of the games. It's what I did for you when you came over and you're like, "Oh, I've never played VR." I was like, "Oh, we'll play Super Hot."
Yeah.
So that's the game that you get your friends to play when they've never played VR.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
it's a system seller. Like you show your friend, even if it's like 5 minutes, they're gonna walk away going, "Oh man, I need to get one of these things."
Yeah, that's it. That's why that's why I got you to play it, because that's the game that everyone has the most fun with.
When I come visit next time, I'm gonna have to bring my Quest.
Yeah, no, do it
me.
for sure. And then we'll go to like a park or something, because my apartment is so small.
Yeah.
My apartment is so small. So
When I went back to the States for summer, and I took my Quest, and because I wanted to show my grandparents. All my grandparents are getting older. They're in their late 70s, and I figured, hey, why not play a little VR?
Yeah, experience the future.
And we went out to the backyard, and they live out in the country, so they have a huge lawn. I mean, like massive, like soccer field size. And I made the biggest barrier that I could, the Guardian, in the Quest, and it was ridiculous being able to just run around in VR. That's not worrying about hitting anything.
That sounds so crazy, actually. That sounds
like literally running. And not worrying about anything.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be pretty, a pretty unique experience. I would love to do that. I would love, because in my room, that I'm in right now, VR is honestly tough. I'm almost guaranteed to hit something. I think
I hit your roof a couple times.
You hit like my mom. I was afraid that one of my mourns would crack. Like, I've punched the wall a couple of times. Playing super hot, like reaching for a gun. So, you should bring the Quest, and we'll go outside. We'll go to a park and try not to get mugged or anything. But we're probably safe. But we'll do that, and that seems like a fun time. So yeah, that's it. That is halflifealyx. Again, it's kind of a teaser. They're supposed to reveal more information, and they say Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific. That's like Friday for sure for Japan.
Yeah, I don't think that game's coming out anytime soon.
Probably.
But I could be wrong. Well, it could be a crazy shadow drop now available.
Yeah, it could be a Christmas thing even. We don't really know.
Yeah.
Other than that, in gaming news, or I guess just life in Japan news, just one thing I wanted to bring up is there's an arcade, not in Tokyo, but in kind of close to Tokyo, in a city called Kawasaki, called Warehouse. Legendary arcade. It looks really great. It's kind of based off Kowloon from Hong Kong. That closed as of Sunday of this week. So I just want to say,
very sad.
Yeah, I just want to show some respect for probably the greatest arcade in Japan. Very, very sad.
Yeah, not exactly like the best place, I thought, to play games.
Oh, but just to be, just to hang out.
But the atmosphere totally made up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Really sad. I'm gonna regret not being able to meet up with you and go for the last weekend. Yeah, I think for my whole life.
Your whole life.
I really wanted to go. It just didn't work out. I got sick and I had stuff to do. But, that's pretty sad that's gone. I really wonder what happened. You mentioned that it might be the tax, the sales tax thing in Japan.
I'm totally
recently
guessing.
Went up to 10%.
Right. I'm guessing, obviously. I don't work at Warehouse. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So any of our listeners who, don't live in Japan, the sales tax very recently increased to 10% on consumer goods. Not all consumer goods, but a lot of them. Really confusing. It's a different topic entirely.
Yeah. But most stuff is 10% these days.
Right. And so arcades, have always been one coin for most games, 100 yen, right? Single coin. It used to be, when I moved to Japan, the tax was 5, and then it got increased to 8, and then now it's 10. So,
and it used to be 0.
Yeah. So it has been going up. So there's a theory that all arcades are affected by this tax hike because, and then they're losing 10% on every gameplay. They're kind of eating the tax, right? No arcade is charging you tax.
Yeah, because you don't want to go to the arcade and sit down at a Street Fighter 5 machine and put in 100 yen coin and then a 10 yen coin, right? You just want to put your 100 yen coin in and play the game.
Exactly.
So the arcades were eating that 10 yen that they needed to give to the government.
Mm-hmm. So, that I kind of have a theory about that, and maybe that's the case. We don't really know. But no, Warehouse was a legendary arcade. You can go on the internet. You can. I think it's shown up on a bunch of hotspots for Japan tourists. I've had friends come.
I'm pretty sure every major gaming site has covered it at some point.
Yeah,
you can just go into the search bar and type in
Warehouse or something.
Warehouse arcade, and it'll pop up.
I've had friends come visit me and they're like, oh, what's this arcade called Warehouse that I keep hearing about? And I'm like, oh yeah, I can take you there. It's really cool.
Yeah, seriously, every single person or family member that has visited me in Japan, I have taken to Warehouse.
Yeah, it's just one of those arcades that you want to show people. It's so very unique. And it closed, sadly. So I went actually recently. I know I sent you a bunch of pictures, but
yeah,
I went to I guess show my respects to this arcade, and apparently I wasn't the only one because it was crowded. I have never seen Warehouse like this before.
Yeah, I had never seen that many people in that area before.
There was so many people. So we were crossing the street, across from Warehouse, me and my girlfriend and our friends. And, we noticed, this is kind of late already at this time of night, but there's some people also with us. And as we get closer to Warehouse, there's more and more people heading in the same direction. And then we get outside, just outside the doors, and there's people that are taking pictures. I'm like, oh my God, everyone's here for Warehouse. We get inside, and it's crazy crowded. It was insane. I've never seen it like that.
Man, you're making me feel bad for not going.
No, but yeah, so I've known you, how long have I known you at this point? A couple, 6 years, or?
I came to Japan in 2012, so yeah. Oh, geez. 7 years?
7 years, yeah. I've known you for 7 years at this point.
That's a long time.
Yeah. So
I love you, dude.
Yeah, I love you too. So when we first, I guess when we were hanging out, we would sometimes, go to Warehouse because we both love games, and it was one of the more famous arcades in Tokyo.
You also lived 20 seconds from there.
Pretty close, yeah. My original apartment. I don't live there anymore, sadly, but
yeah.
No, it was good. It was I think important to me, just because we went there, and I don't know, man. I don't want to get sentimental about this, but
it's weird how a place like just an arcade can have that kind of you can get an emotional connection to something like a building.
Yeah, and
because there's other arcades in Kawasaki, within 5 minutes that we would go to together.
Absolutely, yeah.
But we would always end up back at Warehouse.
So the thing is, if those arcades shut down, the other ones, I'd be like, oh man, that sucked. Why'd they close? But I wouldn't go out of my way to go to it before it closed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. We would go to those other arcades if we were too lazy to walk to Warehouse.
Right.
Our main goal was always to go to Warehouse, though.
Yeah. And I mean, even you're just like, oh, I wanted to come to go before it closed. And if I said this other arcade is going to close, you probably wouldn't come.
No, I wouldn't have I would have been like, no, I don't have time.
Yeah. So it is pretty weird, but I think, and not just me, not just you, obviously a lot of people really cared about this arcade, and to see it go is kind of sad.
You'll have to walk by there in a week or two and see if there's any signs on the door, announcing what's going in there, because that's a huge building.
Oh my God. If it's like a pachinko parlor, I'm going to be really pissed. I'm going to be so mad.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, it could be a pachinko parlor.
I would be legitimately, man, if pachinko were replaced.
Or like a church. What if it's a church?
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. I'd be upset.
Would you walk into a church that's decorated like that on the outside?
No. No.
The outside of this building, it looks scary.
I think for the longest time, because I used to live near there, and I never would go inside. I'd never go inside. I was like, what is that building? Why does it look like that? It's an actual warehouse. And then I found out that it was an arcade, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that's actually really cool. Yeah. I don't know, man. Do you have any other news? What's going on in your life?
No, not really. I think that's about it. For recent news, the Half-Life thing, Warehouse.
Yeah.
That's probably it.
How's life in Japan? Do you have any tips for anyone who might be considering moving here?
Oh man, put me on the spot. Any tips for coming to Japan and someone wants to move here.
Now we're a Japan Life podcast.
I mean, I love Japan. I'm super happy to be here. It's not for everyone. So I would say if you really want to move to Japan to work and live, think hard if it's for you or not.
It is a life.
Maybe
it's a life choice.
Yeah,
for
maybe
sure.
go on vacation for a month. You know, you can go on vacation for up to 3 months on a travel visa if you're from the States or Canada or Australia, places like that.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Australia, you can do working holidays for longer.
Yeah, for like a year or so. I don't know.
Yeah. I would say go on vacation first for a long time, at least a month, and see if you like it. But it's a great place to live. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be here. I mean, we're gonna buy a house in a couple years, so I'm gonna be here forever.
I'm obviously I've been here for quite some time as well.
Yeah.
How long would you say your honeymoon period lasts? Like every foreigner I know here has a honeymoon period, and they start to hate it a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Probably, let's see, 2 years.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What triggered it? Was it taxes?
No, that's fine. I'm from California. You know, the taxes are pretty high. But, yeah, I don't know what triggered it. Probably just the daily grind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most people start out as an English teacher, and I'm still an English teacher, but I'm not doing the English conversation stuff anymore.
Right. That's a whole entire can of worms.
That's how most people get into Japan, is through English conversation schools, which is fine. It's fun when you're young.
Don't do it.
Now
Don't do it forever.
Now I'm a little older. I have a family, kids. So I've transitioned out of the English conversation sector into a more formal English style system, English teaching system.
Right. You straight up like evolved. So you've leveled up your class essentially.
Yeah, and I've actually thought of getting out of English too. I was looking for a while, but a good opportunity came up, so I took it. So I'm still teaching English, but there's nothing wrong with doing English conversation. I think it's a good way to get into the country.
Yep, I 100% agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah. It is. You got to remember though, Japan is just like any other country. There's good things, there's bad things. You're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days. There's good people, there's bad people. So it's not this magical land of
weeb paradise. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a weeb paradise. So
yeah,
I would say think hard before moving.
I agree. Or you haven't seen my apartment in a while though, but it's straight up weeb at this point.
Yeah, I would describe you as weebish.
Yeah. But
I'm not. I'm a different type of weeb. I'm not the anime type of weeb.
Yeah.
I have other things.
But I like to think that I have it under control. Kind of. I have a lot of figures now, but yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad at this point. Well, that's our show. Well, that's our show for this week. So thanks a lot for sticking around.
This was an interesting episode, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Not having the normal host and then having you on. So in a good way.
Yeah, we'll have to have you on on our podcast at some point too.
Yeah, I would love to. You guys have way more hosts than we do, so I don't know how that's going to work. Maybe if one of you guys just straight up dies.
Well, we're gonna
let me know.
We're actually trying to do some side episodes. We're planning our game of the year stuff right now. We're gonna try to do. We usually do every 2 weeks for our normal episodes, but we're gonna try to have a blast of like 4 or 5 episodes during the New Year's holiday.
Oh yeah, when everyone's not working, right?
Yeah, and that way we don't have to like worry about recording. We'll just record a bunch of stuff early, and then I'll release it slowly through the week. You
trickle it, and you're relaxing the whole time. That's a trick.
Yeah, so there might be some opportunities to get some guest hosts in.
Yeah, for sure. Let me know. I'd love to come on and talk. I think our podcast, our 2 podcasts have similar overlap. I think the fact that we're both in Japan.
Yeah. You guys talk a little bit more about the anime kind of stuff. We don't really touch on that much.
So occasionally, it's a forbidden topic.
Yeah, I'm not forbidden. I mean, I watched some anime.
Yeah.
I started watching the new Pokemon.
Yeah, there you go. So that counts. It is anime. Yeah. But yeah, thanks so much for taking the time out to record with me today.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, it was great.
Can I plug our podcast real quick?
No, I'm just kidding. Go for it.
No.
Of course.
So we're also on Anchor. We're using the same host and sponsor. They're awesome. You can find us on the Anchor website at Reiwa Gaming Podcast. We're on all the major stuff: Overcast, iTunes, Spotify, and we also have a Twitter, which is Reiwa Game Bros. Our umbrella is the Reiwa Game Bros, the four of us. We're on Twitter, we're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, all under Reiwa Game Bros. Only the podcast is Reiwa Gaming Podcast.
So you guys are hitting all the marks.
Yeah, we don't have any YouTube stuff yet. We were gonna put something up, but we had some recording difficulties. So there's nothing on YouTube yet. We have we did one Twitch stream for Star Wars last week. So we're just starting out. We're only on episode 5, so we're still kind of planning how we're gonna do everything. But please check us out.
Definitely. So go ahead, check them out. I will put a link to their stuff in the show notes if I don't forget, which might actually happen. But again, that is the Reiwa Gaming Podcast. It's anchor.fm/Reiwa Gaming Podcast with dashes between each word. Definitely go ahead and check them out and leave a voice message. I'm going to do it. So you have to go and play my message on your podcast.
That would be awesome because we haven't had any voice messages yet.
I'll be the first.
I've been wanting to figure out how to put those into the podcast using the Anchor app.
So I'll do it, and you guys all do it as well. That's it. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Take care.
See you later.